Good evening, everyone. It's Denise from Dobby Books, and welcome back. So, during this, let's see, last week I finally got my capstone um, presentation part done. So, there were basically two parts to the capstone. There's the actual essay with accompanying reflection, and then there was the presentation part, which was either you did let's say, a PowerPoint presentation, you gave a talk about your capstone, or you had a poster, you designed a poster, and you would talk to people individually or a couple of groups of people as they came up and asked you about your poster. And with that was also you had to design a page within a web page. So we had the big web page, which was our capstone page, and then each student who did a capstone added their own page to that master page. So what I had gotten done last week was the web page within the master web page and the presentation aspect, which mine was a poster. Those two were done last week, and I made a little reel of things. You'll see it in one of my reels. It's like about a minute long, and it's just little snippets of things that happened here and there. This week, as a matter of fact, in 2 days on Wednesday, I need to finish polishing up my essay, making all those little finishing touches and whatnot, and finish writing my reflection and submit those, and I'm done. And then I have the projects for my other two classes to do. The one for my YA is simply putting together a lesson plan based on the book that I'm reading called All the Stars Denied, which I covered with you last week. That's easy in comparison to everything else I'm doing. And the last thing I need to do is to finish my historiography essay. I have done the research. I think I'm almost done collecting the notes, putting together my notes on each one of those. So now what I have to do is just put it all together in an essay. That's not due until Friday. So I work on it a little bit every day, and I will hand in the best that I can do on that. This week, though, I also acquired some books. Just a couple. First, let me show you. I finished All the Stars Denied. I finished that one. And I was listening to Pat from Book Chat with Pat, and she mentioned she started reading horror and the horror genre, which is something she was unfamiliar with. And she had asked one of the other booktubers who was very much into this genre what she could start with. And the recommendation she was given was a book entitled A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. And I love paranormal stuff. This is right up my alley. I'm not so much into horror, because then I get this like brain trauma, and then I have to read 3 or 4 regular books before I can come back. I don't really like horror. I do like Stephen King. But if any of you are familiar with him, some of his books are suspenseful, more suspenseful than horror, and some are more horror than suspenseful. It varies. So I really can enjoy, like Misery was very suspenseful. That was a great book. Awesome book. And then Pet Sematary was a little of both. Those are great stories. Those 3 favorites. I've never read Carrie. I've read, let me see, there's Pet Sematary. I've read It, and I've also read The Shining. I loved The Shining. That was the best. More books like that. That's the kind of style that I like to read. It's more along the lines of The Shining. It was really the best. I think that's got to be one of my more favorite Stephen King books, is The Shining. And that's what I enjoy when it comes to horror and suspense and paranormal. That's what I like. So when Pat mentioned this book, A House with Good Bones, and mentioned the keyword paranormal, I was like, I can't wait. I can't wait until I finish my last week in school. I can't wait until I, finish my other TBRs. I'm going to read this right away. So this is what I'm reading, A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. So far, so good. and a daughter who's in her 30s, goes to visit her mother in the home that she grew up in. This daughter, well, they lived there for a few years, and the grandmother has died. It was her home, and now her mother lives there. But she's noticed when she comes back to see her mom that her mom's behavior is different. The decor in the house is different. Her mother even painted the walls differently. So something's up. So she's just catching on to something weird's going on, and we're going to see what happens from there. Ooh, I just love this. So I'm enjoying this. And today I got my book from Waterstones in the UK. And this is an author that I follow, Cornelia Funk. And this new book is called The Green Kingdom. So I've got the UK edition. I just love this cover. Look at this. Is this beautiful? Look at that. And this is a signed copy. So let me show you this. There's her signature. This is a first edition. And what did I want to show? Look at the cover pages, the end pages. Isn't that delightful? I just think that's lovely. Sprayed edges. Pretty books are so worth it. They really are. It adds such enjoyment to it. You could see the gold in there and the glimmer. And let's see what this is about. It says, unlock the secrets to a hidden kingdom. You grew roots. It is magical when that happens. You never know where it will be. When Caspia finds a dresser in her new home full of secret letters, puzzles, and botanical riddles, she soon finds herself on a quest to solve them. As more and more secrets find their way to the surface, and with the holidays ending and unexpected friendships blooming, Caspia must be brave enough to put down new roots and search for clues in places she never imagined. The summer is turning out to be the most fun yet. It says DK on it. Really, Dorling Kinsersley? DK.com. A Penguin Random House. Okay, so it must be an imprint of Penguin Random House, and I was unaware of it. If you look at the beginning of the chapters, it reminds me of some of the books I would read when I was in maybe high school. There's just something about the way this book is put together. The illustrations, the format of the chapter openings. I just like it. It just intrigued me. Well, the color of the cover caught my eye first, but this is going to be interesting. Now, Cornelia Funk also wrote Inkheart, Inkspell, Ink Death, and there was the other one about the dragon. I don't remember what title that is. But I've enjoyed her story, especially the Inkspell series. That was awesome. So I'm going to enjoy this one when I get to it on my TBR. The next two books I got yesterday. We went to Ojai, and in Ojai is Bart's Books. And I don't know if any of you know the history of Bart's Books, but Bart served in the military, and he had gone to Paris. And he loved the booksellers who had their books displayed in those little wooden booths outside. When you see the Cathedral of Notre Dame, just across the water, along that bridge area and the wall, is where all the Parisian book vendors will have their little wooden displays, and then they close those cases at night. And this is what Bart really liked. So when he came home, he sort of started setting this up in his own house. And through the years, it grew and it grew and it grew. So now, of course, he's passed on, and the house itself has been converted to this beautiful walk-around outdoor bookstore. Really the neatest thing. There's even a section inside the actual house that has a room with rare books, and they're all in cases, and it's lovely, and it's air conditioned, and it was hot yesterday, so I was sort of sticking my neck in that room to try to get some cool air happening. And there was another room that was similar, but those older books were not in cases. Oh gosh, how can I explain it? Things were, there were categories, fiction, nonfiction. YA, and then they had a section that had graphic novels, and a section also on the inside of the house, like in the kitchen of this house, is where all the cookbooks were. It's so cute. It really was. It's an experience. If you ever come to California and you're ever in Ojai, go to Bart's Books. It's so unique. Really, it is. I still enjoy going there. Anyways, I found two books. One is used and one is new. The used book I found, I saw the title caught my eye because I think I've heard of it in my history studies. I don't think it's my historiography. It was in something else. And the book is entitled Why History Matters by Gerda Lerner. And this is an Oxford University Press book. This was published in 1997. And on the back it says, in Why History Matters, Gerda Lerner sums up her thinking and research of the last 16 years, combining personal reminiscences with innovative theory that illuminate the importance of history and the vital role women have played in it. So it starts with, it says, her coming to consciousness as a Jewish woman. From there, she talks about her experiences in Nazi Germany, her decision to become a historian, and in the next phase of her life, when she deals with specific historical scholarship and her analysis of American values. That's something that's going to intrigue me, to get an outsider's view of us. She talks about her study of nonviolent resistance among the Quakers, abolitionists, Thoreau, Tolstoy, and Gandhi, and the civil rights movement of the 1950s. And in the final part of this book, she talks about the issues of class and race as they relate to gender. So I really thought this is a great book, and this was written in the 90s. So it's going to be very insightful. This next book I heard about from another book. The book that I heard this book mentioned first was a book called Writing Down Your Soul, which is a great book, a very unique book on journaling. It's a very interesting twist, and I've loved it ever since. And the author of that book brought up this one, The Hidden Messages in Water by Masaru Emoto. And what this gentleman did, he is a doctor, Masaru Emoto. He's a graduate of Yokohama Municipal University, and he is a doctor of alternative medicine. And what he did is he took pictures of water crystals after being exposed, after the water was exposed to various moods, shall I say. So for example, when, let's see, I'm going to find an example for you. When you said, and I think this was repeatedly, when you had a glass of water, for example, and in the presence of that water, you would say to the water, thank you. Then Dr. Emoto would take a sample of that water and study the crystals under a microscope to see how the crystals formed. So this is what the crystals look like when you said thank you in Japanese. Isn't that beautiful? And he also observed them when thank you was said to them in other languages. So English, Chinese, German, French, Korean, and Italian. Here's the English. These are the crystals that formed when you said thank you to water in these various languages. I see a similarity in the patterns. I don't know if you do. And on the other side of that, when you said something insulting to the water, like you fool, in Japanese and English, this is what happened to the water when you said it in Japanese and when you said it in English. There were no crystals really formed. It was just this deformed, chaotic mess. And I want to show you something. There's another example I want to show you because I just found these endlessly fascinating. He would take, this was crystal in water after it was placed in the presence when there was Tibetan Buddhist chant going on. It's just amazing to me. I don't know if it's the lighting, if it was different, or if simply this particular crystal holds light differently because of the type of crystal that was formed. It doesn't look so one-dimensional to me. It actually looks more three-dimensional. And then I want to show you drinking water. He played music. He shows you examples of the crystals when you play different kinds of music. And he also wanted to see how the crystals were formed in various kinds of just regular, I think it's faucet water, tap water. So I'm going to show you these here, right? And these are images of Parisian, London, and Tokyo tap water. Paris, London, and Tokyo. You don't see a whole lot of crystals happening there. And he says that's the effect of the chemicals that are used to treat the tap water in order to keep it safe. The next three are images of tap water in Rome, then Venice, then Bern, which I think is in Switzerland. So Rome, Venice, and Bern. Rome, Venice, Bern. And the purer the water, the more clear the crystal. And I believe with the previous images that I showed you, the examples were taken from distilled water being exposed to these various different kinds of things. And look at this. Spring water from Saijo, Hiroshima. Look at this. Spring water from Hiroshima. Is that exquisite or what? He has so much more to say, but these first pictures are, the images of what happens to water when it's exposed to various kinds, what I would call energies, because music provides a certain kind of energy. You can record it. Anger has a different kind of energy. Happiness, laughter, crying, all these different emotions we feel send out a different kind of energy, and water responds to that. And this is a record of all those fascinating findings that this doctor found. I just thought it was fantastic. And I was lucky to find this because I found it once in a bookstore a few years back and said, no, I'm not going to get it today. And it wasn't there the next time I looked. And then I forgot about it. And then I go yesterday to Bart's Books and there's like 3 of these. So I grabbed it. The next one I got is another university press, Princeton University Press. It's entitled The Chile Project, the story of the Chicago Boys and the downfall of neoliberalism. And it is in 1955, the US State Department launched the Chile Project to train Chilean economists at the University of Chicago, home of the libertarian Milton Friedman. After General Augusto Pinochet overthrew socialist President Salvador Allende in 1973, Chile's Chicago Boys implemented the purest neoliberal model in the world, undertaking a sweeping package of privatization and deregulation, creating a modern capitalist economy and sparking talk of a Chilean miracle. But under the veneer of success, a profound dissatisfaction with the vast inequalities caused by neoliberalism was growing. By the way, our current capitalist system in the United States is based on neoliberalism. In the Chile Project, Sebastian Edwards tells the remarkable behind-the-scenes story of the Chicago Boys and the rise and fall of Chile's free market revolution. At the same time, he sheds new light on how neoliberalism came to dominate economic policymaking around the world in the second half of the 20th century and why it is in retreat today, by Sebastian Edwards. This is going to be fun. And last but not least, you're going to believe me when I show you these books because by now I've pretty much figured you know me, right? And all that work I've been doing on my capstone, becoming familiar with, different aspects of British history, and on the author Philip Pullman, And his trilogy, I think I actually looked this up on eBay, and I found out that the Folio Society had published the trilogy, the entire trilogy, in a slip-covered case. And I think they did this in 2009. I have the American edition because the first book is entitled The Golden Compass, and in the UK, the first book is entitled Northern Lights. But let me show you that. And I got a good deal on it because I looked at the cost of the new ones that they have right now, and I actually saved money by ordering it through eBay. And it was the best price I found on eBay. So here is the cover of the slipcase edition, Philip Pullman, His Dark Materials, the Folio Society. Then here are all 3 volumes of that trilogy inside, and you see the gold lettering and the beautiful rich brown color that this comes in. It's very nice. You can see a little bit more of the markings. And now we take all the books out. The first, The Golden Compass. Look all the way around. And these editions, I think it was 2008 that the Folio Society published them, yes. And the illustrations are provided by Peter Bailey. So here's the first picture, first illustration of the Golden Compass. I just love how the books are put together. Just made in a very sturdy, beautiful, you just can't beat it. And here's another color image. Lovely. And of course, well, the end pages are good solid brown. I don't know if they had any limited editions of this. I didn't see any limited editions. Okay, so that's the Golden Compass. The next one is The Subtle Knife. And if you've read the series, you know what that particular slash means. And I want to show you the image here. That's the opening image there. And, oh, I just want to see this other one. And yes, I have 2 things to mention here. The Folio Society has published the books in the second trilogy, which is The Book of Dust, La Belle Sauvage, and I forgot The Secret Commonwealth. They have published those 2 books individually as well, and now the third one has just been completed and will be released in October of this year, not by Folio Society, but in the UK. It's going to be released in the UK. I have that on pre-order with Waterstones, and I chose a special edition, slipcased edition. So that's going to be very, very fun to look at. I'll be showing you that in October, probably November. Ooh, there's a picture, I can see it. I want one more to show you before I move on to the next book. Let's see. Oh, this one's very nice. These are lovely illustrations. Okay, now let's look at the last one. This one is the Amber Spyglass. There's the people down there. Okay. And let's look at the first illustration. Oh, this is lovely. And let's look at a couple of more nice pictures on the inside. These are the very special creatures in this world. What is their name again? It's right at the tip of my tongue. I can't remember the name of these creatures. Mulefas. They have 2 feet and two wheels. It's hard to explain. There's an image. If I can find it, I'll superimpose it on this video. But the Mulefas travel in a very unique way. They need a wheel that they can attach or link with their other feet, so one in the front and one in the back. and they're able to roll along on these wheels. And they make the wheels, I believe, from the seeds of a particular tree, the fruit that falls from this tree. And they use the oil to lubricate that wheel, and it also has other medicinal properties. What an interesting series. So here I have all three now. Let's see if I could put them. I should turn it the other way, like this, so it goes from top to bottom. So you have the golden compass, the subtle knife, and the amber spyglass. And all three go into their slipcase, which I'm trying to very carefully do this with one hand. And there we go. It's a lovely slipcase. And I got a great deal, and I'm very happy because I find books I love and I want to get them. I want to find them in special editions, or they find me, and it's a lovely marriage. And that is it, everyone. I spent a good 3 hours or so at the library finishing up the one essay, and tomorrow it'll be round 2. Same thing, just hibernating at the library all day until this is done. And this Saturday is commencement, and then I'm a free woman. And let's see what happens after that. So this was fun. I like talking to you guys. I like sharing stuff with you and hearing your comments, your feedback. And I love you all, and I will see you in just a few days. Bye-bye.